Join me as I take on the challenge of keeping my secrets hidden from everyone around me for an entire week. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your ambition. Let's make that clear from the start. If you have a vision, if you have a mission, if there's something burning inside of you that's pushing you to go harder, deeper, faster, then you keep that fire to yourself and let it grow. Most people make the mistake of announcing their goals to the world, thinking that by telling everyone they'll be held accountable. That's weak. If the only way you can stay focused is if someone else watches you, you've already lost. A man who's truly driven doesn't need an audience. He's too busy building. Every time you open your mouth about your next move, you're feeding your ego and starving your discipline. You're looking for praise before you've earned anything. You're seeking validation for a future version of yourself that doesn't even exist yet. And here's the truth. Nobody respects the guy who says he's going to do something. They respect the guy who already did it. So, while you're running your mouth, telling your friends, your family, your followers what you're planning to do, someone else is putting in the work and staying silent. He's in the shadows. You don't hear from him, but one day, he's standing on top of the mountain you only talked about climbing. There's something powerful about building in silence. It forces you to focus on the process, not the performance. When nobody's watching, you're free to grind without judgment. You're free to fail, correct, and keep moving without the pressure of an audience. You're not working for approval. You're not doing it for applause. You're doing it because you demand more from yourself. That's the foundation of true success. Internal pressure, not external praise. Most people waste their energy trying to look successful instead of becoming successful. They curate their image. They post motivational quotes. They take pictures in gyms or behind laptops in coffee shops. They want people to think they're hustling, but deep down they're soft. Because if you really had the discipline, you wouldn't be broadcasting your journey. You'd be too consumed by the grind. You'd be waking up at 5 a.m. with a purpose, not a post. There's a reason predators don't roar when they hunt. They stalk in silence. They move with purpose, every step calculated. A lion doesn't announce itself before the kill, and when it strikes, it doesn't need to justify its dominance. It simply is. That's how you move in life. Quiet, dangerous, unpredictable. You make power moves without making noise. You let people underestimate you. You let them think you're asleep, and when it's time, you show up and dominate. You don't owe your plans to anyone, not your parents, not your friends, not your girlfriend, not your co-workers, especially not your doubters. The more you speak, the more you expose, and people love to sabotage what they don't understand. When they hear you're trying to rise, it makes them uncomfortable. It shines a light on their mediocrity, so they'll smile to your face and plant seeds of doubt behind your back. That sounds risky. You sure you can handle that? Don't get your hopes up. These are the whispers of the weak, trying to anchor you to their level. Don't give them that chance. Stay silent. Stay focused. Protect your vision like it's life or death, because it is. There's a reason most people never get anywhere. It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of resources. It's a lack of discipline, a lack of emotional control. They can't resist the dopamine hit of talking about their future success. They're addicted to attention. They want the reward without the work. They want to be congratulated before they've crossed the finish line. That's not how life works. Life doesn't pay you for intention. It pays you for execution. When you announce your plans, you trick your brain into thinking you've already achieved something. It's called premature pride. You feel good for saying it, so your motivation drops. You've already received the emotional reward, so why work harder? You've emptied the tank before even starting the engine. That's why silence is power. Silence keeps you hungry. Silence keeps you grounded. Silence reminds you that nothing is real until it's done. Let people think you're doing nothing. Let them assume you're average. It gives you an advantage, because when they sleep on you, they lower their guard, and when the time is right, you show up with results so undeniable, they can't even speak. You shock them. You make them question how they never saw it coming. That's real impact. That's real dominance, and it doesn't come from talking. It comes from grinding in the dark. The real elite aren't flashy with their process. They don't explain themselves. They don't justify their goals. They just execute. They wake up, they go to war with themselves, and they win every day. They don't need an Instagram post to feel productive. They don't need likes or comments or applause. Their validation comes from watching themselves evolve. From watching the numbers rise, from the feeling of waking up a little more dangerous than yesterday. This mindset, this silent, ruthless drive, is what separates winners from wannabes. The winners know that success is war. And in war, information is power. You don't leak your battle plan to the enemy. You don't show your hand. You move in silence, strike with force, and then vanish. Let them wonder, let them gossip. Let them write stories about how you came out of nowhere. You didn't. You were just working while they were watching. When you're serious about success, you realize time is your most precious asset. Every moment spent explaining your plans to someone is time stolen from execution. Every conversation about what you're going to do is a distraction. You don't need to say anything. You need to act. You need to move. You need to build. While others talk, you take territory. While others sleep, you sharpen your blade. While others doubt, you dominate, and the beauty is, silence builds pressure. When people don't know what you're doing, they can't predict you. You become a storm brewing on the horizon. They feel something coming, but they can't prepare for it. That uncertainty, that fear, its power, your silence creates it. It makes your eventual success 10 times more impactful, because it's not just the result. It's the shock, the disbelief, the awe. You didn't just win. You won without warning, and that shakes people. Your silence isn't weakness, it's control. It's choosing to focus your energy inward. It's choosing to build something that doesn't need hype to exist. When you're truly focused, you don't want to talk. You don't need to. The grind consumes you. The mission becomes your obsession. You're not checking your phone every 5 minutes. You're not looking for feedback. You're locked in tunnel vision, eyes forward. Every second matters, every rep counts, every failure is fuel, and no one knows because you've chosen to keep it that way. People waste years trying to look successful. They chase clout, they chase status. They want others to think they're winning, even if they're broke, undisciplined, and soft inside. That's a disease. It's a trap, and if you fall into it, you'll never get out. You'll spend your life seeking applause instead of impact, and at the end of it all, you'll have nothing real to show for it. Just noise, just empty words, just memories of what you said you were going to do. But if you stay silent, truly silent, and channel every ounce of your energy into becoming the kind of person who commands respect without speaking, everything changes. You move differently. You think differently. You attract differently. You stop caring what people think and start caring about who you're becoming. And that transformation, it's not something you need to post about. It's not something you need to tell anyone. Because the people around you will feel it. They'll sense the shift. They'll see it in your eyes, in your walk, in your results. This is how real men rise, not with announcements, not with promises, but with cold, hard, undeniable action. You become a force of nature, unstoppable, unapologetic, unseen, until it's too late, and by the time they realize what you've built, they can't catch up. They're too far behind, too distracted, too weak. And you're already on to the next move, quiet, focused, winning. Again, you've already grasped the power of silence. You've understood that the loudest people are often the weakest, and the ones who stay quiet are usually the ones doing real damage. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about what it truly means to live a life that is built in the dark and revealed in the light. Because silence isn't just about strategy. It's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need recognition to validate his grind. Once you start living this way, you begin to notice things. You see how most people are addicted to attention. It's like a drug. They can't go a day without it. They post everything, what they're eating, where they're going, what they're working on. It's all for show. They want to look like they're chasing greatness, but deep down, they fear the isolation that comes with real work. They're scared of the quiet because the quiet forces them to face themselves. And most people don't want to do that. They'd rather hide behind distractions than confront the truth that they haven't done enough, but not you. You've made the decision to move in silence. That means your days are built differently. While they scroll, you build. While they talk, you think. While they dream out loud, you take action behind closed doors. You're not waiting for someone to notice your progress. You're obsessed with progress whether anyone's watching or not. That's power. That's what separates you from the herd. You don't need validation because you validate yourself with results. You see, the quiet man is dangerous because nobody sees him coming. He's not broadcasting his plans. He's not leaking his goals. He's building strength, skill, and focus behind the scenes. And when he finally steps out, he's already done what others only talk about. That's what makes impact. It's not about being seen. It's about becoming undeniable. And when you're undeniable, you don't need to say a word. Your presence speaks for you. There's a reason real warriors train in solitude. There's a reason legends disappear before they rise, because growth requires isolation. Mastery requires focus. You can't become elite while entertaining the opinions of the average. You can't evolve while explaining yourself to people who haven't even started the race. That's why you stay low. That's why you keep your head down and work. Every time you say less, you do more. Every time you hold back your announcement, you gain leverage. People don't need to know what you're working on. Let them assume you've given up. Let them think you're done. That gives you space to sharpen your weapons in peace. And when you come back 10 steps ahead. That's how real progress happens. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Not in the spotlight, not in the noise, but in the dark corners where discipline is forged and resilience is carved into your DNA. You've got to understand something. When you're really doing the work, when you're truly evolving, you don't even have time to explain it to others. You're too consumed by the mission. You're waking up earlier, you're eating with intention, you're training harder, you're reading more, thinking sharper, moving with precision. And while the world is busy clapping for mediocrity, you're building a future they can't even imagine. That's what silence buys you. Freedom, freedom from opinions, freedom from distractions, freedom from needing to prove anything. Because the truth is, the moment you stop trying to prove yourself to the world is the moment you start becoming who you were meant to be. You stop being reactive and start being strategic. You move differently, you say less, but when you speak, it cuts deeper. Your energy becomes potent, your words carry weight, not because you talk often, but because when you do, it's backed by reality. People will try to provoke you. They'll ask, "What are you up to?" They'll want you to spill your plans so they can measure you against their small standards. Don't fall for it. Keep it vague, smile, and nod. Let them think you're coasting. Meanwhile, your days are packed with growth. Let your silence confuse them. Let your absence from the spotlight bother them. They won't understand how someone can disappear and still dominate. That's because they've never felt the satisfaction of building something real, something that doesn't need permission or praise. You'll also see that silence protects your energy. When you talk too much about your goals, you open the door to doubt, envy, and distraction. People will project their limitations onto you. They'll tell you it's not realistic, that it's too risky, that it's too ambitious, not because they care, but because your ambition reminds them of their own laziness. Your drive exposes their excuses, and instead of leveling up, they'll try to pull you down to their comfort zone. Silence shields you from that negativity. It keeps your mind clean and your focus sharp. The truth is, most people don't want to see you win. They say they do, but deep down, they're waiting for you to fail. It makes them feel better about staying small, and when you talk too much, you give them a front row seat to your journey. Don't give them that access. Let them hear about it after it's done, after you've won, after the deal is closed, after the weight is lost, after the empire is built. Let your results be the announcement. And by then, they won't have a choice but to respect it, even if they hate it. Understand that greatness is lonely, the path is narrow. If you need applause to keep going, you won't last. The days will get hard. The grind will get repetitive. You'll question everything. And in those moments, if you've built your identity on public approval, you'll fold. But if you've trained yourself in silence, if you've cultivated discipline without witnesses, then nothing can shake you. You're unbreakable because your foundation isn't built on noise. It's built on purpose. You need to become addicted to doing the work in the dark. You need to fall in love with outworking people who don't even know they're in competition with you. That's how you create separation. That's how you become elite. You do more than what's expected, and you do it quietly. No announcements, no updates, just progress, just pressure, just results. And when the time comes to reveal what you've built, you won't need to say much. You'll walk in the room and the energy will shift. You won't need to explain yourself. Your presence will do it for you. That's the level you're aiming for. Silent strength, quiet power. unshakable confidence that doesn't require validation. So while the world shouts, you stay silent. While they pose, you prepare. While they try to impress each other, you focus on becoming impossible to ignore. That's the goal, to become so effective, so relentless, so sharp, that even your silence screams success. You don't need noise, you don't need recognition, you don't even need to be liked. You just need to win. And you need to win in a way that no one sees coming until it's too late. That's how you dominate. Not by making noise, not by sharing your dreams, but by turning those dreams into cold, hard reality, quietly, efficiently, relentlessly. And when it's done, when the dust settles, they'll ask how you did it. They'll wonder when it happened, and all you'll do is smile, because you know the answer. You worked in silence, you moved in shadows, and now you own the spotlight they were so desperate to stand in. So don't just hear this, live it. Let the world run its mouth while you run your empire. Let them crave attention while you crave results. Keep building in silence, keep grinding in private, and when it's time, your success will roar so loudly that it drowns out every doubt, every hater, every excuse. You don't need to be seen to be dangerous. Be the storm they never saw coming. Be the ghost in the gym, the phantom in the boardroom, the legend they talk about when you're not in the room. Because when you move in silence, you don't just surprise them, you dominate them.